Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Rappahannock. My name is Susan Mosley. I'm the pastor here at UUFR, and I'm very honored to share this service with our friend, my friend, the Reverend Leanne Washington.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Leanne Washington, and I am a member of UUFR. This is my home congregation, so that no matter where I am in the world serving other Unitarian Universalists, this is my home congregation. And I am so pleased to be here today sharing this service with Pastor Susan Mosley.
Many of you know that this service is what the program committee calls the grand experiment. It's grand because it's ambitious. It takes a lot of people to put this together. And it's an experiment because the committee members do not know, we do not have the kind of expertise we need to piece together all the different parts to this service. Since we don't have that expertise, I want to say a very special thank you to Lucy Gilbert, who is a third-year student at the University of Virginia. She is studying film and English. She also happens to be Leanne's daughter. We are extremely appreciative to Lucy for sharing her expertise with us. We chose Poetry Sunday for this experiment because it offers us an opportunity to see and hear from a variety of people from our congregation, people that we've missed during this quarantine. So I'm excited that we have 6 readers for you today, and there will be also wonderful music offered by Hank and Nancy.
We are living in tumultuous and confusing times. Sometimes we're overwhelmed with emotions that we do not understand and we cannot control. The American poet Robert Frost tells us that poetry is when an emotion has found its thought and the thought has found words. Poetry speaks to us in ways that other forms of expression simply do not. During our service today, we invite you to get comfortable and enjoy our offerings in whatever way helps you bring them in, helps you absorb them, helps you find the deeper meaning in them. You may focus on the readers and enjoy the fact that you're getting to see some of the congregants that you haven't seen for a while. You might focus on their faces. You might close your eyes and simply listen to the words and the music as it comes to you. Or you may focus on the imagery that we have paired with the poetry and the music that you'll experience today in our service. And remember, while we are separated because of COVID-19, and so we cannot be here together in person, we have one advantage to the fact that all of this is being videotaped. If something really speaks to you, you can play it over and over again. And if something doesn't make sense to you, you can play it over and over again until you can make sense of it. And if something inspires you or brings joy to you, you can come back to these offerings and have that experience over and over again. As Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world do when they gather together, we light our chalice. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.
Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, living soul, my love profess, but not be given by love within. The prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free.
Don Kennefic is going to read for us Shakespeare's sonnet number 55. And I want you to listen for what will outlast our monuments and statues, according to Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's sonnet number 55. Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besmeared with sluttish time. When wasteful war shall statues overturn, and broils root out the work of masonry, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn the living record of your memory. 'Gainst death and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth, your praise shall still find room, even in the eyes of all posterity, that wear this world out to the ending doom. So till judgment that yourself arise, you live in this, and dwell in lovers' eyes.
Paula Greenwood is coming to us from her backyard and will share 3 brief rhymes and also a little introduction about the author, Dorothy Parker.
Good morning, everyone. We're here in my backyard, and I'm going to read you 3 short poems from Dorothy Parker. Dorothy Parker was a writer of short stories and poetry from the 20s through the 60s. She lived in New York City. She was a member of the famed Algonquin Round Table, which was a gathering of all different kinds of writers at the Algonquin Hotel in New York City to drink to excess and extol their virtues to each other. So here are the poems from Dorothy Parker. Unfortunate coincidence. By the time you swear you're his, shivering and sighing, and he vows his passion is infinite, undying, lady, make a note of this: one of you is lying. Comment. Oh, life is a glorious cycle of song, a medley of extemporanea, and love's a thing that can never go wrong, and I am Marie of Romania. One more. Experience. Some men break your heart in two. Some men fawn and flatter. Some men never look at you, and that cleans up the matter.
An important aspect of our spending time together every week as a community here at UUFR is sharing joys and sorrows. And I know that many of us miss the opportunity to do this together. I invite you now to join me in a virtual Joys and Sorrows. I'd like to take a moment, though, before we begin, to talk about the symbolism of our water chalice and our sea glass and what we do. It can be anything, but it's appropriate that here in the Northern Neck, we have little bits of sea glass. And upon these bits of sea glass, we place joys and sorrows that we want to share with the community. And we place them in a water chalice. The chalice is a container. It holds the water. It will hold the joy or the sorrow. And it is symbolic of our community as we hold each other in love and reverence and respect and compassion. On this beautiful piece of sea glass, I place a joy that I'd like to share with you today. I am blessed to be called to serve as an interim minister, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Edmonton, Canada. I place this joy in the water. And now I invite you to share your joy. Say it out loud. I also have a concern associated with my new call to serve the church in Edmonton, and that is that I don't have an active passport right now. I had to fill out an application and send it in. I made the mistake of letting my passport expire. And it could be months before I actually get a passport that will allow me to go across the border. And given what's happening with COVID-19 in this country, there's some question as to whether I'll even be able to go across the border once I get my passport. And that's just the world that we're living in today. And patience is not my virtue. I invite you now to say out loud your sorrow or your concern as I place this piece of glass in the water. In this format, we cannot hear each other. So we invite you to send an email to Pastor Susan and let her know what your joy and sorrow is, and if it's okay for her to include it in our weekly newsletter.
Lois Williams is going to read a familiar poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Paul Revere's Ride. Seems a fitting poem to listen to the day after our Independence Day celebration.
Each year we celebrate the 4th of July, but 15 months before July 4th, 1776, there was an event that happened that's related to that day. I'm going to read Paul Revere's Ride. It's an expurgated version, but I like the poem because of the story, but I also like the rhyme and the rhythm. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. He said to his friend, "If the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church tower as a signal light, 1 if by land and 2 if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and to arm." Then he said good night, and with muffled oar, silently rowed to the Charleston shore. Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. But mostly he watched with eagle search the belfry tower of the Old North Church. And lo, as he looks on the belfry's height, a glimmer and then a gleam of light. He springs to the saddle, the bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight a second lamp in the belfry burns. A hurry of hoofs in the village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the petals in passing a spark, struck out by a steed flying fearless and fleet. That was all, and yet through the gloom and the light, the fate of a nation was riding that night. It was 2 by the village clock when he came to the bridge in Cambridge, in Concord town, and one was safe and asleep in his bed, who at the bridge would be the first to fall, who that day would be lying dead, pierced by a British musket ball. You know the rest. In the books you have read, how the British regulars fired and fled, how the farmers gave them ball for ball from behind each fence and farmyard wall, chasing the redcoats down the lane, then crossing the fields to emerge again, under the trees at the turn of the road, and only pausing to fire and load. So through the night rode Paul Revere, and so through the night went his cry of alarm, a cry of defiance and not of fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door, and a word that will echo forevermore. For borne on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last, in the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. No. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. No. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna shake hands around the world, everywhere I roam, everywhere I roam, everywhere I roam. Gonna shake hands around the world, everywhere I roam. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I study. Oh, no more, no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more.
Next, we will hear from Diana Jameson. Diana is reading The Guest House from Sufi mystic Rumi. Diana has a special affinity for this poem because of her work as a psychotherapist.
The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes with an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still, treat them honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And so it is.
We are excited today to be able to welcome Gillian Smith from our sister church, Walmsley Chapel in England. Gillian and Rich Smith have been a part of our Thursday Zoom gatherings, and they have had an opportunity to get to know many of you, and it's been very exciting to build that relationship. I'm also extremely glad to welcome Gillian to this Poetry Sunday as we listen to her read Desiderata from American author Max Ehrman.
So Rich and I have chosen Desiderata by Max Ehrman as a poem that we'd like to share with you. The different verses resonate with us at different times in our life. We hope you enjoy. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is a perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labours and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end, my sight as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity, that of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
As our closing words for this service, we will hear from our very own Bob Weekly, whose original poem, Catching Fire, expresses for us the joy and meaning of being a member of a congregation, specifically this congregation.
I'm not a professional poet, but I write poetry when something moves me. I cannot sit down and say I'm going to write a poem now. It's just that I'm doing something and it just has to be recorded to myself. So that's what this is about. And I wrote it with UUFR in mind. I call it Catching Fire. It is futile to make a stick burn on its own. Hold a match to it, See it scorch, but it never flames. It never lights your way. It never gives you heat. Hold that struggling flame close to more sticks, and the congregation of sticks encourages each other. They share their heat and soon their flame. There is no limit to the number of sticks that can join in. The blazing fire can warm us and cook our food. The fire's heat can smelt metals from their stones. The fire can cause new materials to form. So it is with the fire of human commitment. One person can set an example, live a good life, but unless their flame spreads to others, it will die out. When the fire of commitment spreads to many people, it becomes a blazing fire, spreading light and heat. We bring our spirits to a congregation. Our own commitment spreads to others. Our commitment burns hotter when joined with the light and heat of others. The fire becomes immortal because even as one flame goes out, others are just catching fire.
Freely we have received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us. A community of memory, a community of hope, and a community of poetry. For we are now the keepers of the dream. The offering is a sacrament. It supports all of us and comes from our voluntary generosity. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values and dreams of the beloved community. Following our service, you will receive an email with instructions as to how you can participate in today's offering. As we close our service today, let us be mindful of the Buddhist admonition. Be ye lamps unto yourselves, be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves as to the only lamp. As we go through this coming week, I invite you to do as American poet Muriel Rukeyser suggested we do. Breathe in experience, breathe out poetry. Breathe in experience, breathe out poetry. Breathe in experience, breathe out poetry. Blessed be, and go in